sourdough journey. I would recommend, I've had a couple friends that I spoke with tell me, hey, just buy a loaf of sourdough bread from the store. And I'm extremely tempted to buy some sourdough bread, but I want to try to make it myself. So today in my sourdough journey, I watched another sourdough bread creator on YouTube talk about sourdough and what you do when your sourdough's not right. Turns out my sourdough starter is not all that I need it to be when you make it. It's supposed to be alive and bubbling and have a certain type of bubble. And this is the one that I'm using, and I started last night. And from my research, I was told that it is too acidic, right? And they tell you when your dough is too acidic to change the ratio. The ratio is the amount of water and flour you put in your starter. Normally, most people do 1 to 1 to 1. That means everything's the same. Same amount of water as the same amount of flour and the same amount of water. Starter, my bad. Same amount of starter. So you have, say, 60 grams of starter in your container. Then you add the same amount of water, which would be 60 grams, then 60 grams of flour. But it's not working. So they tell you to increase the flour, right? That's what they say next, which is what I'm going to do. So now I didn't put any water in here. I put flour. So I'm told what it's supposed to do. Check it out. It is supposed to make the starter thicker. They say it's a thicker starter, right? And that's what I'm going to do right now. And all I'm doing is mixing it up. Try to mix all the flour in there with this starter, because now I am giving this starter food. I'm feeding it. And they say that when it is acidic, that it's eating up too much of the gluten. I'm not sure exactly what they said. I'm sick and tired of watching all these videos and not getting my bread right. But they tell you that you want to make your starter thicker, which is what it is now. More like a dough. And it's not quite there in the consistency yet. Looking to see if there's any more flour in here. Right? But I'm just trying. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a sourdough specialist, expert, or baker. I'm just a ordinary, average guy, so to speak, like the old Joe Walsh song. And I'm trying to get this right, man, and it's frustrating. So what I'm doing is mixing it, adding more flour. I'm not even going to add more water. I don't want to add more water. I want to throw everything away. I guess buy a starter or something, from a bread company and try it again, but I'm not. And the funny thing is, I did some work this morning in my yard, and I had a friend of mine who has a truck help me I took my recycling to the recycling center and got money. That's another thing. Recycle your bottles and cans if you can. Get money for it. And I'm using that money to fund my sourdough starting journey. So I got $30 from all of that recycling. That allows me to buy some more flour because I'm on my 4th bag of flour, and I don't live near a Costco, and I'm not a big crazy Costco fan anyways, because it seems to be so expensive when you go there because you have to buy stuff in bulk, right? Which means even though it's in bulk and it's costs less per ounce or package, you still are buying big packages. So let's say, for example, I wanted to buy a small bag of flour, like the King Arthur flour that I use in my sourdough journey. Well, it's $7 for a 5-pound bag. Now, I was told by my sister, who also makes sourdough, and she makes it right, and she has her own starter, that you can buy a large bag, like a 25-pound bag of flour for like $10 or $12, which is way better than buying it at the store. But I don't have a Costco close by my house, and I don't have a Costco card, because in order to have a Costco card, you got to pay a yearly cost to have a Costco card. Everything costs money. So all I'm doing right now in feeding my starter is I'm just putting more flour in it. I'm not going to put more water in it. I don't want to put more water in it. I'm not like I'm getting tired of doing this, but I kind of am getting tired of doing this. So, and here's one of my other starters, right? Look, it almost is kind of like a dough, but it's not bubbling. And I was telling you guys the other night that they have what's called test for your starter. You basically put it in the water, and if it floats, it's ready. And I mean, this starter that I have in this jar looks better than a lot of the bread doughs that I made when I tried to take them out and do part of the process that I explained yesterday with all the gazillion different terms for sourdough, making sourdough bread, which is called stretch and fold, right? My dough is so wet, so sticky that it's hard to take care of. So as I said, what I did right now, all I did was I added more flour. I'm not even going to add more water. So after I added the flour, I'm pushing everything down. Now I'm going to let it ferment, or bulk ferment as they say. So I'm going to put a lid on it. I'm going to put it in my oven with the light on where the temperature will be constant, because it's a little cold in my house, which is another thing they tell you about making sourdough bread. Your temperature, or ambient temperature, what they say, or call, how they term it, which is a term anyways. It's like how cold or how warm it is in your house, because all of those factors factor in when making sourdough bread. So that's more things, more information overload to get stuck on. So that's it, man. I'm just trying to add more. Shut up. Yo, man. Man, you guys are brutal, Gamer Emily. I hope you don't run across somebody who's got it out for you, because you're not going to like how they treat you. And you should try to be nice. Anyways, that's it. I'm out. Bye. Have a great day. Later. You're gone, Gamer Emily.